Welcome back, everyone. Well, it's Monday, so Dr. Paul is here. A lot of people like you, Paul. They do. They keep telling me.
I like being here.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know
The
what? I
energy.
think it shows.
It's got great energy.
So, in our never-ending quest to find things that we would think would be of interest to you, Paul made me aware that November is Diabetes Awareness Month. And I don't know about you, but diabetes is really one of those diseases that you think you know something about, then you don't know. And I was stunned with our conversation prior to air today. So let's start. What is diabetes?
So diabetes is a deficiency in the body's ability to metabolize sugar. And so it can be due to two main factors, Jesse. One is that the body is just not producing insulin anymore. And therefore, you are not able to regulate your blood sugar well. The other one is that your body is producing plenty of insulin, it's just not doing its job. And so the first one, where your body is not producing the insulin, that's called type 1 diabetes. The second one, where you're producing lots of insulin, you're kind of spewing it out of your pancreas, it's just not doing its job. That's type 2 diabetes. And that's the vast majority of cases.
Now, why is it not doing its job?
Yeah.
Is it a defective pancreas or, you know?
Somewhat. It's got
Okay.
more to do with the fact that insulin loses its ability to perform its role of shuttling glucose from the blood into the tissues of the body.
Yes,
And the
right.
reason why it becomes incapable of doing that effectively is because insulin likes it when the environment that it's in is healthy. The muscles are working, and it's providing that shuttle system of glucose into the muscles in unison with the health of the body. And when the body gets unhealthy, insulin starts to go up because the blood sugar rises because of poor diet and physical inactivity. So just to back up just for a minute, you know, we talk about diabetes and why it's so important and why should we really have this as a priority. Well, for two reasons, really. One is that there's a lot of people that have it. So right now, currently, documented cases of diabetes in the United States, there's 30 million people who have the disease.
Wow.
There's another 86 million who have what we call pre-diabetes, and many of them don't even know they have it. Now, here's the real issue. Those cases cost our healthcare system in the hundreds of billions of dollars every year.
And
to
that's
help
with a
manage.
B.
That's with a B.
Right.
So it's a major, massive disease. So the object is with type 1 is just to manage it. And the symptoms that we have when people have type 1 diabetes, usually in young children, and again, it's an autoimmune disease. So what happens is something has triggered the body to attack the cells of the pancreas that produce insulin and destroy them. And so they are not able to produce insulin. So as a result, the blood sugar goes way up. These individuals are usually urinating at night often. They're usually very, very thirsty because they're trying to pass the glucose through. They usually eat a lot, but guess what? They have low body weight. They end up losing a lot of weight because they're removing it from their body. So that combination are usually telltale signs that a young child perhaps has type 1 diabetes.
Two myths I want to address right here. I had a friend who died of diabetes. What he would do, and I would always know when he was having an attack because he would glaze over.
Yeah.
He would not be disoriented, not know exactly where he did. First thing he went for was candy bars and soda to give himself a sugar kick. And you hear this so often that, you know, if you're seeing somebody that's having symptoms of diabetes, get them a candy bar, get them a sugar. Myth.
Yeah, I mean, you do want to bring them out of that dire condition, but sometimes, you know, eating something like a candy bar or soda in excess is not the real sign of good, proper, healthy control of their blood sugar. If in the event that somebody does get to that level, something like orange juice has been effective, but then they also have these little tablets that help bring the glucose level up to a sufficient amount that puts them into the safe zone.
Got it.
But when they start really overloading their system, their blood, with all of those calories from a soda and a candy bar, that sets them on a vicious roller coaster.
Well, it just can't be healthy. Second myth, it's genetic.
Type 1, not necessarily. Type
Right.
1 does not have it's an autoimmune disease where these cells are just being destroyed by the body. Usually induced, they think, because of a virus.
Right, got it.
But in type 2, we sometimes fall back on it being genetic too much.
Right.
And we know that the vast amount of type 2 diabetes is not due to a genetic role necessarily, it's due to lifestyle. That if you are inactive and have a poor diet, your risk for diabetes skyrockets, no matter how much of a risk that you have. Now, there are certain populations that have an increased risk for diabetes. Those would be Native Indians and certain ethnic groups that have come to this country and adopted the westernized diet. And so they are at increased risk. So, but even in those cases, so even when we get them westernized, those groups that I just mentioned, you can still counter their susceptibility and increased genetic prevalence by encouraging a healthy lifestyle of proper diet and exercise.
Good. You know what? I want to try to encapsulate this. There are two types of diabetes, type 1, type 2.
Correct.
Type 1, there really are no known cures for this. In terms, you just don't take pills and cure this.
It's
so
insulin.
type 1 really needs management.
They need insulin shots and insulin pumps. They need to have an outside source of insulin coming in.
They do, okay.
Yeah.
And then type 2, as you were saying, real lifestyle issues.
Major. Yeah. I mean, in fact, type 2 follows a progression of becoming worse and worse and worse until the point where it becomes no longer able to be controlled by lifestyle well, so they have to take insulin. But up until that point, you can interject and intervene in a person's lifestyle and actually return them back to normal.
Right, and as we talk frequently, part of that could be diet, but lifestyle, sedentary, get up, get moving, because your muscles, right, weren't you saying?
Your muscles absorb the glucose.
That's right.
And do a lot of the job that insulin is doing. And when the muscles are active, insulin is happy and doing its job the right way.
I got it. Signs that you should look for. If you have a child, again, if they're drinking an inordinate amount of liquids, right? If they're getting up frequently in the night to go to the bathroom, if they're eating a lot and not gaining weight, those are symptoms you should watch out for. And type 2, inactivity. If one of those types of people that don't get around too much, your diet is not particularly good, you're very susceptible to getting type 2.
Yeah, and you have the greater amount of your body weight around your abdominal region. And so that's another telltale sign that people have a greater accumulation of what we call abdominal obesity. But their symptoms are going to be fatigue.
Right.
They have very, very poor...
circulation.
Circulation,
Right,
excellent.
right.
And then poor wound healing.
Right.
They just don't heal. And that's because they have poor blood flow. So those are the best signs to look for with type 1 and type 2.
Well, Paul, again, really informative. Thanks. Remember, everybody, this is Diabetes Awareness Month.
Good.
I'm sure there's plenty of information online. You can come to our website, do that. You can go to Dr. Paul's website. The main thing is that if you're seeing any of these symptoms or you want to know more about it, this is a great time to explore it, right?
Absolutely. Great, great cause.
Oh, great, Paul, and I'll see you next week.
You got it.
Okay, thanks. To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.